Today we are going to discuss reading strategies for tackling the large amounts of reading that come with college courses. We will talk about how to read quickly and read well, how to process and synthesize arguments that range over hundreds of pages, and how to read specifically textbooks, novels, and history books. I hope that at the end of this video you will have some techniques to try out, to see which ones you prefer and which ones you don't. It must be kept in mind throughout the entire video that this is not an exhaustive list, nor is it guaranteed to work for everybody. The idea is that you can try these out and see which ones work for you and for the material you are reading. Sometimes the sheer volume of reading can seem insurmountable, but there are ways to get on top of your reading, and it starts with time management. Getting ahead is an easy thing to say, but much more difficult to do. To the extent you can get out in front, the better. But perhaps a more manageable way to think about this is to consider reading small amounts daily, perhaps right after class or immediately upon waking up. This breaks up a potentially hefty reading assignment and forces you to think about the reading you've done before every time you pick up the text. It might also be helpful to break up the readings by subject, doing each subject a little each day. You also really want to try to read actively, to engage intellectually with the text rather than let it lull you to sleep. If you prefer a quiet space, go to a library. If you like some background noise, head to a cafe. But keep in mind, it's about what is good for you, which isn't necessarily what is good for someone else. So if you've ever had anything to read in elementary or high school, you've probably tried highlighting. Highlighting can be effective. It keeps you focused on what you're reading, and it is helpful for when you go back to study. This method works quite well with large textbooks. When it comes to history papers and novels, however, highlighting is perhaps not so useful. So much of an education in humanities depends on how you interpret the material, what you make of a certain historical event, or say a literary symbol. Using a pen might be a better bet, because you can, in addition to underlining, write notes in the margins. Annotating text is doubly effective. It keeps you engaged and focused while reading, and it also makes going back to studying the material much easier. Instead of having to read a whole paragraph, you only have to read your notes. And here's a further tip. Try following the text with your pen while you read. It forces you to focus and could help you pick out some important details. But of course, college professors don't just require you to have read and understood the material. They also expect that you can synthesize the information, think critically about it, and be able to explain why you think the way you do about the text in class. It may seem like an afterthought at first, but in university, grades are invariably based on participation in class. You can get ahead, though. It is often helpful and important to know what you are reading for. By studying the class syllabus or speaking with a professor before reading, you might get a better idea of what they will be looking for and what they'll be expecting. After reading a chapter or section of the text, write a little summary on the first page, or jot down what you think the salient points might be. Include a few of your own thoughts or questions you might have. Writing down your questions is a good way to stimulate your thoughts and kickstart the critical thinking process. This doubles as a productive way to get ahead on your papers. Whether you have a strict prompt or an open topic, referring back to your own synthesis of the work can help concentrate your thoughts and precludes you having to reread entire chapters or more. Thanks so much.